Hello, and welcome to the Dynamics GP Toolbox demo. Today we're going to be showing you guys some of the features inside of this awesome product. We're going to hit on our customer favorites, the tools that we get the most requests for and are often of the most interest out of the product. Keep in mind that the Dynamics GP Toolbox has 27 different tools that you can activate and use as you wish. So you are not purchasing just a single tool, you're getting the entire toolkit. So we're going to hit on those customer favorites now. So the first thing I want to show you is just the basic navigation of the Dynamics GP Toolbox. You'll see we've got our little red R. This contains the system settings as well as some additional tools that you won't find in our system settings menu. To the right is our mentor block, and we'll touch on that tool in a moment. And then we also have our payment approval entry window, another tool that we'll show you guys in a little bit. So let's open up the system settings and take a look at what's inside. You'll notice that each of our categories are broken out, and we have 4 of them. We have our security, our administration, our business process tools, as well as our user experience and widgets. We're going to hang out in the security spot to begin with. And we'll start out by showing you one of our top tools, which is the inactivity timeout tool. Now, the awesome thing about the toolbox is how easy it is to implement and start using a tool. If you would like to turn a tool on, simply click on the little circle and make it a green check mark. If you'd like to turn a tool off, click on it again. Really as easy as it gets. If you have questions on what a tool does, you can simply click on the tool link and we'll give you a little information off on the right-hand side. So let's look at the inactivity timeout.
The inactivity timeout tool was really designed with your system administrators in mind. If you've been the person that's been in charge of kicking users out of the system that have been either hogging a user license or potentially just leaving GP open for days and days on end, inactivity timeout is going to be your new best friend. The purpose of the tool is to allow you to set a default number of minutes of inactivity before we gracefully log that user out of GP. What a graceful logout means is that we check for any type of activity, a push or a pull of data from the tables, and if there hasn't been any in a predefined number of minutes, we're going to do the same as a file close. So we'll close all of the open windows in GP and we'll completely remove them from that activity table. And what that means is that license is then freed up for someone else to log into the system that might actually be doing some work. Now, the default number of minutes, that's kind of your catch-all, but then you have the ability to put users into specific groups. So let's take a look at the remote user group. These are my folks that are working from home like we all are these days. And it looks like this group actually has 180 minutes of inactivity before we're going to log them out of the system. If I want to put additional users into a group, I can just click on the little link and I can select which users I want to put into this group. So now Tammy gets 180 minutes. So we'll close that. Now let's click on the schedule and I'll talk a little bit about that. All right, so the inactivity timeout tool can also be scheduled for when your system is the busiest. And this is scheduled by the user group. So when my remote group is logged in Monday through Friday, the tool's turned on. However, on the weekends, you can see by the little indicators on the red sides that the tool is actually off on the weekend. So people can be logged into the system for as long as they want and not be logged out of GP. But when my system is, really hopping and I have a lot of users in there, this schedule will be in effect Monday through Friday. Now, this group is included. You can also exclude groups. So my administrator group, for example, this is my SA users, my DynSA. I've excluded them from the tool. So this tool never applies to my admins. A big question we get a lot is, what is an activity? I don't want the tool, logging someone out in the middle of a posting process. We don't want that either. So that activity, that push or pull of data from the tables that I mentioned, that is going to be things like posting a batch, running a report, entering in a transaction, anything like that where the system is talking back and forth. We're going to see that as an activity and we're going to pass that user's session by. I do recommend marking the clear stranded activity records box as well. What that'll do is, say your laptop dies while you're sitting at home. Your session has been disconnected. You're essentially an orphaned activity record in the system. This is going to periodically go through the system and look for those active stuck sessions and clean them up. So if they're orphaned from actual activity in GP, those will be cleaned up as well. So you don't have to go back in the next morning and clean them up. And also when that user logs in the next time, they are not going to have to click on the "you're already logged in, do you want to delete your session" button. That will be gone as well. They'll be able to just cleanly log into GP. So let's take a look at another tool. Okay, to get back to that main menu so we can see what our tools are, let's click on the little house and we're going to look at the system lockout. This is really similar to the inactivity timeout tool in the fact that we are still looking for those active sessions, but this is going to allow you to lock your GP, either a single company or all of your companies, log those users out of GP, and then lock them out for a set period of time. So if you know, for example, that you're going to be doing maintenance on a specific day for a specific amount of time, you can set it and forget it and have the system log those users out of GP and then display a note letting them know that they can't get into GP. Maybe you're updating payroll tax tables, or maybe you're applying a new service pack or doing an upgrade, something like that. This is a great tool to utilize during that time so that you're fully aware that no one can get into the system and kind of mess things up. You do want to exclude somebody from this tool. So make sure you've got at least one user that is excluded so that you are able to log into the system and perform whatever maintenance it is that you need. So that's our system lockout. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at Security Manager. This is a way for you to actually see and report and manage all of your GP security in a much cleaner, easier to understand way. So let's open up that window. Okay, so to give you a little bit of a tour on this window, the first thing I like to show you is kind of how it's laid out. You are able to view your security across your different companies. So the first thing you're going to want to do is select which company's security that you want to view. Then you're going to pull in a filter. And the filters are what fills in this left-hand side. Right now I'm looking at my security at the role level. So this is going to pull in all of my default GP roles, as well as any custom roles that were created if I have third-party products available, or if I've created some of my own custom roles. So that's the filter that we're looking at right now. If we open up these filters, you have some predefined filters that are going to come with the product. All of the filters with the little Z are going to already come with it when you set this up. So who has access to what roles, what windows, what smart lists, what posting permissions, all of that's going to be there right out of the gate. But then you can also create your own filters if you've got, kind of specialized ones that you want to look at. So you're going to pick that filter. Then you're going to go over to our little piece of paper here and you're going to select users. Now I've got 4 users selected here across the top. I could simply look at this for one user if I needed to just produce, a single user security report, or I could pull in multiple users like I've done here to kind of compare and contrast what security do these users have in GP. Lastly, you're going to determine how much detail you want this window to show you. I'm looking at this in the most granular detail, which means I'm showing you not only what roles they have access to, but additionally what tasks and what are the reports and the windows that make up those tasks that then roll up into the role. So we can see right here, here's some of our windows that our users can access. Here's some reports. The little legend kind of clues you in on that. But I could look at this really high level. I could look at it just at the role only. Or I could see, just those roles and the individual tasks that make up the roles. Or like I said, as much detail as I'm showing right here. Now to manage my security, I can highlight the role, and then at the intersection of a role and a user, I can modify their security. Now, let's say Dan is going on vacation, and maybe Aaron is going to be filling in. I could right-click on on Aaron, and flip him from no to yes, and then that would update his security. He would then have access to the accounting manager, and it would also update all of the bracketed items below and give him access to those windows and reports, just like if you were to modify this in normal GP security. It still has to be done at the role level, but this is just a much more intuitive way of actually managing that security. Exports. Now you're able to export your security. So if you want kind of a snapshot of what your security was at a specific point in time, you could export this out to Excel or a CSV file and have exactly what's on your screen. This window is fully dynamic, so meaning whatever is pulled up, you can print into a report or export out of the system. This is an awesome tool, especially if you're trying to meet SOX compliance and you need to be able to show what your users can access. This is going to be a lifesaver as far as reporting goes and being able to produce those really concise security reports. On to our next tool. Now we've looked at a couple of our security tools, but I wanted to make sure that I showed you some of the user experience tools. These are tools that are designed for your everyday GP user to be able to enhance their GP experience and make it work simpler and easier. So we're going to take a look at our mentor tool. And if you remember back at the start, we were talking about the little block way up here at the top. What this is going to let you do is search for windows that you might not commonly go to in GP. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to click on our little M block. And voila, this pops open. So think of those windows that you do have to go to, but you don't go there all the time. It might be a routine. It might be a year-end close type window or a report that you only have to run once in a blue moon. Now also think about those users that might be new to GP itself. If you don't know your navigation, you can spend a lot of time clicking around trying to find something. With Mentor, it's designed to be super intuitive where you can simply type what you know about the window you're looking for, and we will go find it for you. And that is going to also include some of those third-party products, which is great. So let's say we're looking for, we don't know, paid transa something. So I'm going to type that in. I'm going to hit tab. Tab is the magic button. And this is going to go through all of the menus all across GP, and it's going to bring back the closest result to what I typed in. So what I was actually looking for was paid sales transaction removal. This is not that. I didn't have to hit it right on the head. I didn't have to know for sure what that window had for a name. I typed as close as I could remember, and it brought back all of my different results. Now, the green check mark indicates to me that I have security to view that window based on whatever my system administrators have set up. So I do have access. I can see how to get there, so it'll actually give them the path. But if I have security, so I have my green check mark, it's not the little stop sign, I can just double click on this window and it'll open right up for me as long as I have security to it. And from here, I can actually create a shortcut. If I'm going to go and run this routine maybe once a month after we've finished our month-end close, we want to clean up those sales documents, I can do that. I can set a little shortcut. So my end user doesn't have to spend hours and hours digging around trying to find some of those more obscure windows. So that's how the user experience is going to be. Now, on the flip side, we like to make our tools really awesome for everybody. So consider yourself the toolbox administrator. You get an extra button in this window. You get this little security lock. Now, if you have a user that comes to you and says, hey, I need access to the paid sales transaction removal, maybe they have a stop sign, but they need to be able to do this process. I can search the same exact window and I can click on the security button. This will tell me exactly the security I need to give that user in order for them to access that window. So I now know that the paid sales transaction removal window form lives in the admin sales 14 task and that it's associated with these 3 roles. If I want to see more about what's in the role, I can just click on the link. But if I know for a fact that, hey, it looks like we've got this right, let's go to Aaron. I can actually give security right from this security settings window. So it actually looks like Erin does have access because she is the AR clerk. However, if these were all stop signs, I could just double click on a stop sign and give her security to whichever role was applicable to what she needs to have. So it's kind of a backwards way of doing security, but it is so much easier than trying to dig through GP security to find out, how do I give access to that one window? Remember, you are giving access to the entire role, though. We still have to follow the GP rules, role-based security, but that is where the window lives. All right, with that, we are going to take a little step back and let you kind of digest that information that you've just heard about the GP Toolbox. Obviously, there is a lot of additional functionality inside of this product. We have individual 2-minute videos on our YouTube page of every single tool in the Dynamics GP Toolbox. So I encourage you, if you have tools that you would like to see, to go out to our YouTube page and view those different demos so that you can see exactly what each tool does, and you'll be able to see it in action. You also have the ability to reach out to our sales team if you'd like to test this product out. See if inactivity timeout saves you some frustration and maybe some money on buying more user licenses because they're freed up. So you can reach out to us, sales@rocktonsoftware.com, and we'll be happy to get you a free trial or any additional information that you might want on the Dynamics GP Toolbox. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.